Okay, let's continue our monohybrid crosses. Monohybrid simply means we're looking at one characteristic using one set of genes. Now, these diagrams are meant to represent two people. We've got a man over here, and we've got a woman, of course, over here. Now, let's assume that these people are going to have children. Now, the man then, as you can see, the man then has brown eyes. However, the woman, in fact, then is going to have blue eyes. So this is going to represent her blue eyes then. Now, what we want to do is we want to see then what happens if this man with the brown eyes and the woman with the blue eyes, if they've got children. Now, as always, you need to give a letter to represent the alleles. We say before that an allele were different versions of a gene. So the gene might be for eye color. So there's a brown allele for eye color and a blue allele for eye color. Let's start off with the man first of all. Let's assume that inside his cells, he has in fact then two alleles for brown eyes. That would mean in fact then that inside his cells, he'd have two of these alleles for brown eyes. That would mean from his mother, he inherited then the allele for brown eyes. And from his father, he also inherited the allele for brown eyes. Now, when that man produces sex cells, all of the sex cells then they all have then the allele for the brown eyes. Now, if we think about the woman, now the woman then is going to have children with the man. Now, she has got then blue eyes. Now, just remind ourselves, the capital B represents brown eyes, and the small b then represents the blue eyes. So, if she has blue eyes, the blue eyes then are recessive to brown eyes. That means that the blue-eyed allele is not as strong as the brown-eyed allele. And you'll see the importance of that later on. But she then must have, in fact, two alleles for blue eyes. So that means all of our egg cells then would have an allele then for the blue eyes. Now, if these two then have children, what happens then is we have the man's sperm cells, which all have a capital B. They will then fertilize the woman's egg cells, which all have the small b. So when those sperm cells fertilize those egg cells, all the children which are produced would have one allele for brown eyes and one allele for blue eyes. Now, if you remember a word we mentioned earlier on, when they have two which are different, we say that the cells are heterozygous. So because she has an allele for brown eyes and an allele for blue eyes, the child which is produced then will be heterozygous. That's different to the man who's homozygous dominant and the one who is homozygous recessive. So if this man and this woman have children, all of the children will be heterozygous. They all have the allele for brown eyes, and therefore we can say they will all have brown eyes. Now in this case, the genotype which represents the genes, the genotype of all the children are capital B, small b, but the phenotype, what they look like, well, the phenotype then, all of the children here would all then have brown eyes. Now, there is, however, a different setup which can happen. We said that this man is homozygous dominant for brown eyes. He might have brown eyes, but actually be heterozygous. Let's see how that works. This time, same again, the man then has brown eyes and the woman again has blue eyes. However, this time the man has inherited from his father brown-eyed allele, but from his mother he's inherited then the blue-eyed allele. So even though he's got one brown-eyed allele and one blue-eyed allele, it doesn't mean he has one brown eye and one blue eye. It means then that the stronger one, the dominant one, which is the capital one for brown eyes, hides the one for blue eyes. Let's think of the woman. Well, the woman has blue eyes. The only way she can have blue eyes is if she has then two alleles for blue eyes. So the man's sperm cells, half of the man's sperm cells will have the gene for brown eyes, and half of the man's sperm cells will have the gene for blue eyes. Now the female's egg cells, all the female's egg cells in fact then would have the gene for blue eyes. Okay. Now sometimes it's easier, I think, in these questions here to just use two different pictures then for the egg cells. Even though all the egg cells are the same, sometimes it's easier this way. So again, we draw a Punnett square, which then the man's sperm cells, half of them are capital B, half of them are small b. So half of the sperm cells contain the allele for brown eyes, half of the sperm cells contain the allele for blue eyes. Now for the girl, all of her egg cells all contain the allele for blue eyes. So we have this combination here. We have half the babies produced then are, sorry, I made a mistake there. Half the babies produced then would be heterozygous, which means that they're going to have then our brown eyes, and half of them then would be then homozygous recessive, which means that they have blue eyes. So what I have here is I have 1, 2, which have the capital L, the capital B, the stronger brown eyes. So what happens is these two then would be brown eyed. These two along the bottom, these both have no capital B, therefore they only have the small b's, which means these two then are blue eyes. So we can say that 2 of them have brown eyes and 2 of them have blue eyes. So that we can say a 2 to 2 ratio, or else probably we can call it a 1-to-1 ratio. And that's what can happen with brown-eyed people and blue-eyed people.